Hi students, welcome to my channel. Myself Anil, I am a physics lecturer. Okay, now I am going to congratulate and thank you for everyone being a selecting a science stream after your 10th standard. Now itself, the beginning itself I am telling, best of luck for your further education in your science stream. Now, I am a physics lecturer. Already we know that physics is a branch of science. Now, first we can study about what is meant by physics. Okay. Now, physics. What is meant by physics? Generally, what is meant by physics? Now, the word physics is derived from the Greek word. The word physics is derived from the Greek word physics. The word physics derived from the Greek word physics, means nature. Okay? The word physics is derived from the Greek word physics, means nature. Okay. Now, what is meant by physics? Listen up. What is meant by physics? Now, physics is a branch of science. Physics is a branch of science which deals with the study of nature. Yes, it deals with the study of nature and properties of matter and energy. Yes, it deals with the study of nature and properties of matter and energy. It's called as what? Physics. Simple. Physics is going to derive from the Greek word physics. Physics means what? Nature. Means in physics we are going to study about the nature and properties of matter and energy. Yes, properties of matter and energy. That is what? Physics. Now, in physics, whatever we are going to study, yes, in physics, whatever we are going to study, that one we are going to call it as what? Physical quantity. Yes, we are going to call it as what? Physical quantity. Physical quantity. Okay, physical quantity. For example, simple thing, in physics we are going to study about mass. Yes, we are going to study about mass. Same way we are going to study about energy. Same way we are going to study about work done. We are going to study about heat. We are going to study about temperature. We are going to study about power. Yes or no? We are going to study about heat. Yes or no? Sound. Like that, whatever we are going to study in physics, yes or no? Anything we are going to study in physics, that one we are going to call it as what? Physical quantity. Yes or no? We are going to call it as what? Physical quantity. Now the question is, what is meant by physical quantity? Yes or no? What is meant by physical quantity? Physical quantity means that will be simple. The quantity which can be measured. Yes or no? The quantity which can be measured. The quantity which can be measured, and expressed in terms of values, measured and expressed in terms of values, is called physical quantity. Physical quantity. Okay? Clear? The quantity which can be measured and expressed in terms of values. Yes, expressed in terms of values is called physical quantity. Simple thing. For example, you can take length. or distance or displacement. Length, distance or displacement is a physical quantity. Yes, no, it is a physical quantity. Now we have to measure that one. Yes, no, we have to measure. When you have to measure, for example, length or distance, we are going to say 2 meter or 3 meter or 4 meter. That one we are going to call as what? Physical quantity. Means the quantity which can be measured and expressed in terms of values. Yes, no, expressed in terms of values. Simple example, length 2 meter, 3 meter. We are going to measure and express it in terms of values. Same way, work done. We are going to measure 2 joule, 3 joule, 4 joule. Same way, force. We are going to measure 2 Newton, 3 Newton, 4 Newton. Yes or no? We are going to measure and express in terms of values. That one we are going to call as what? Physical quantity. Same way we can take heat. Yes or no? Heat 1 joule, 2 joule. Temperature 20 degrees centigrade, 30 degrees centigrade, or Kelvin, expressed in terms of Kelvin, 273 Kelvin or 373 Kelvin. Yes or no? We are going to measure the temperature and we are going to express in terms of values. That one we are going to call as what? Physical quantity. This one we are going to call as physical quantity. Now we will weigh types of physical quantity. Types. Now the physical quantities are going to be classified into, yes, no, the physical quantities are going to classified into 2 types. One is fundamental physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantity. Second one is derived physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantity, and second one is derived physical quantity. Yes, the fundamental physical quantity and derived physical quantity. Now, fundamental physical quantity means that will be simple. The quantity which can be measured directly. The quantity which can be measured directly. Which can be measured directly. Which can be measured directly is called fundamental physical quantity. It's called fundamental physical quantity. The quantities which can be measured directly. It's not the quantities which can be measured directly. Example. What are the quantities we can be measured directly? Simple. For example, we are going to measure length. No. What are you going to do? We are going to measure directly. We are going to take a scale or tape. We are going to measure the length. So we are going to take scale or tape. We are going to measure the length. Same way, we have to measure the mass. We have to measure the mass means we are going to use the weighing scale and we are going to measure the mass. Directly we are going to measure. Same way, we have to measure the temperature. We are going to use the thermometer and we are going to measure the temperature also directly. These are we are going to call it as what? Fundamental physical quantity. Means the any quantity which can be measured directly. Yes, which can be measured directly. That one we are going to call it as fundamental physical quantity. Clear now? Yes, sir. We have to measure the length. What do we do? We are going to take a scale or tape. So we are going to take a scale or tape and we are going to measure the length. Same way, we have to measure the mass means we are going to use what? Weighing scale. Yes, using the weighing scale we can measure the weight or mass. Same way, we have to measure the temperature means we are going to use what? Thermometer and we are going to measure the temperature. These are called as what? Fundamental physical quantity. Yes, fundamental physical quantity. Now it is what? Derived physical quantity. Yes, derived physical quantity. Simple one. The quantities which can be measured with the help of fundamental physical quantity. The quantities which can be measured with the help of fundamental physical quantity is called as what? Derived quantities. Yes, no, it's called derived quantities. Means like any quantity which can be measured with the help of fundamental quantities. Yes, no, which can be measured with the help of fundamental physical quantities. We are going to call it as what? Derived physical quantity. Example. What? Velocity. Okay, velocity is a derived physical quantity. Why it will be a derived physical quantity? Means we have to measure the velocity. Means we are going to take how much displacement covered by the object. Yes, how much displacement or distance length covered by the object divided by time taken. Velocity means what? Distance by time. Displacement by time. Displacement by time means what? Length by time. Yes, length by time. We are going to measure the velocity with the help of what? Fundamental. Yes, with the help of fundamental. That is derived physical quantity. Same way we are going to take area. Area means what? Length into breadth. Yes, length into breadth. Same way we are going to use what? Two lengths. Yes, we are going to measure with the help of what? Fundamental. Area. Same way volume. Volume means what? Length into breadth into height. Volume also we are going to measure in terms of what? Length into breadth into height. Again we are going to use what? Fundamental physical quantity. Same way density. Density how we are going to measure? Density means what? Mass by volume. Yes, sir. Density means mass by volume. Again we have to measure the density means mass by volume. Mass is also fundamental physical quantity. Volume is derived. Means we have measured the density with the help of what? Fundamental. Mass means density means mass by volume. Again mass by length into breadth into height. Means we are measuring with the help of what? Fundamental physical quantities. We are going to call it as what? Derived physical quantities. Okay? What is meant by physical quantity? Whatever we are going to study in physical quantities, we are going to call it as physical quantity. In physics, what we are going to study is the quantities which can be measured, and we are going to express it in terms of values. Yes, we are going to express it in terms of values. That one we are going to measure. Yes, we are going to measure. Now, we studied about physical quantities, the quantities which can be measured. For example, I am going to take length. I have to measure the length. Now, and same way I have to measure the mass. Yes, sir. I have to measure length and also I have to measure what? Mass. Okay. For example, I will go for a class tour. Okay. When I will go for a class tour, when I am going to ask, give me a cloth for 2. Okay, understand properly. When I will go for a class tour, give me a 2 meter cloth. Give me 2 meter cloth like this. We will go to ask. Same way, when you go for a provision store, what will ask? Will give. I will ask 2 kg rice or 3 kg rice or 2 kg sugar. Like that, they will ask. We will ask. Yes, sir. When you go for a class store, we will ask a cloth of 2 meter. Same way when you go for a provision store, we will ask 2 kg rice or 3 kg rice or 2 kg sugar like this. We will ask. Okay. Why we are going to use that kg and meter? Yes, sir. We are going to use kg and meter. Yes, sir. Why use in class store? Why you have to use meter only? In provision store, why you are going to use the unit kg only? Like that, the question is going to be arises. Yes, sir. Okay, simple examples here. But ending over to 2 meter cloth kodu, 3 meter cloth kodu anta keltivi. Ade sara provision store ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ 1 kg rice ಅಥವಾ 2 kg rice ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂಗಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 2 kg ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಕೊಡಿ 3 kg ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 2 meter ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. Okay, that's why that is what units. Yes, no, that is what units. Okay, we are to measure the physical quantities. Yes or no? We are going to measure the physical quantities, means we are going to use what? Units. Yes or no? We are going to use units. Now, in first chapter itself, I am going to take into you people units and dimensions. Units and dimensions. Okay, units and dimensions. I am going to take it to people units and dimensions. We are to measure the physical quantity. Yes, we are to measure the physical quantity, means we are going to use the standard units. Yes, we are going to use what? Standard units. Okay, we are going to differentiate one physical quantity from the another physical quantity. Yes, sir. We have to differentiate length and we have to differentiate what? Kg. We are going to use what? Unit. Yes or no? Length always we have to express in terms of what? Meter only. Mass always we are going to express in terms of what? Kg only. There will be separate units will be there. Otherwise, when you go for a class term, you can't ask 2 meter, 2 class. Okay? Same way when you go for the provision store, you can't ask 2 rice. Give me a 2 rice or give me a 2 class. Like that we can't ask. Yes sir? That's why we have to differentiate one physical quantity from the another physical quantity, means we are going to use what? Units. Yes, we are going to use the unit. The unit means it is a simple, it is a standard reference. It is a standard reference used to express the physical quantity. This is a standard reference used to express the physical quantity. Yes, sir, it is a standard reference used to express the physical quantity. Simple one. What? The example we are going to take. We are going to measure length in what? Meter. Length in meter, mass in kilogram. Yes, sir. Length in meter, mass in kilogram. Like this, we are going to measure, means length always meter, mass always in kilogram. Any part of the word you can go, we are going to measure length in meter only. Yes, sir. Any part of the word, length always measure in meter only. Mass they are going to measure in kilogram only. Yes, sir. Mass they are going to measure in kilogram only. This is called as what? Unit. Unit is a standard reference. Yes, sir. Standard reference used to express the physical quantity. Now, types of unit. Yes, sir. Types of unit. Types. In units also 2 types. Yes, sir. In units also 2 types. One is fundamental unit. Fundamental unit, or we can say basic unit. One more word we can use, basic unit. Second one is derived units. Derived units. Okay, fundamental unit, another will be derived units. Yes, the fundamental unit and another will be derived unit. Fundamental units we can also use the word basic unit. Yes, we can also use the word basic unit. Fundamental unit means that will be simple. The units of a fundamental physical quantities. Units of a fundamental physical quantities. Units of a fundamental physical quantities which can be expressed, which can be defined, expressed or defined independently, which can be expressed or defined independently, is called as what? Fundamental units. Yes, sir, is called fundamental units. The units of a fundamental physical quantities which can be defined independently. Yes, sir, which can be defined independently. We are going to call it as what? Fundamental units. What are the units we can define independently? Means, for example, length. Length. We are going to measure what? Meter. Length we are going to measure it meter. Same way we are going to measure what? Mass. How we are going to measure mass? Kilogram. How we are going to measure mass? Kilogram. Same way we should measure the temperature. Temperature how we are going to measure? We are going to measure in Kelvin. Temperature we are going to measure in Kelvin. Same way we have to measure what? Time. We should measure the time is what? We are going to measure in seconds. Yes sir, we are going to measure in seconds. These are what? Fundamental units. Yes sir, fundamental units. Yes sir, fundamental units means the units of a fundamental physical quantities which can be defined independently. Yes sir, which can be defined independently. Length in meter, mass in kilogram, temperature in Kelvin, time in seconds. These are what? Fundamental units. Yes sir, fundamental units. Now we can come to the derived units. Yes sir, derived units. The derived units means simple. The units of physical quantities. Units of physical quantities which can be defined with the help of fundamental units. The units of physical quantities which can be measured or which can be defined with the help of fundamental physical quantities. Yes, which can be defined with the help of fundamental physical quantities. We are going to call it as what? Derived units. Yes, derived units. Okay. Now, see here, derived units means we can take example. For example, we are going to measure what? Velocity. Velocity. We have to measure the velocity means what? Already we told velocity is a derived physical quantity. Velocity we are going to measure in terms of what? Distance by displacement by time. Yes, or displacement by time. Displacement is what? Fundamental. Distance, meter. Time is what? Second. What it will be? See here? Meter per second. Yes, or meter per second. Means we are going to measure the velocity. Velocity is derived unit. Derived unit we are going to measure with the help of what? Fundamental unit. Length in meter, time in second. Meter per second. Yes, or no? These are what are we going to measure? That is with the help of what? Fundamental quantities. Yes, no? Fundamental quantities. Meter per second. Same way we are going to take area. Area is derived quantity. Yes, no? Area is derived quantity. We have to measure the area means what? Length into breadth. Yes, no? Length into breadth means that will be what? Meter square. Yes, no? Length into breadth. That will be what? Meter square we are going to measure. Yes, no? Meter square. Same way volume. Volume is also derived quantity. Yes, sir. Volume is also a derived physical quantity. We have to measure the volume is what? We are going to measure length into breadth into height. Yes, sir. Length into breadth into height. Length into breadth into height means meter into meter into meter. That will be what? Meter cube. Yes, sir. That will be meter cube. We are going to measure it what? Meter cube. Means these are what? Physical quantities. Yes, these are what? Physical derived units. Yes, sir. Derived units means these are we are going to measure with the help of what? Fundamental units. Yes, we are going to measure with the help of fundamental units. Now, in the nature, there will be 7 fundamental physical quantities. Yes, sir. Remaining under derived physical quantities. Yes, sir. In our nature, only 7 fundamental physical quantities remaining under it will be derived physical quantities. Yes, sir. Nature only 7 fundamental physical quantities are present. Yes, sir. Only 7 fundamental physical quantities are present. What are the 7 fundamental physical quantities means? Simple. Now we can look into 7 fundamental physical quantities. Yes, sir. We can look into 7 fundamental physical quantities. In that one, we can discuss what are the 7 fundamental physical quantities. Nature, there will be 7 basic quantities or fundamental quantities. That is what? Fundamental physical quantity with unit, we can see. Fundamental physical quantity with unit, we can see that. Okay, let us got 7 fundamental physical quantities. In that one, first one is length. First one is length. Unit is meter. Symbol small and capital. Unit and symbol. Okay, already I told in nature only 7. Remaining and all will be derived. We can see. First one is length. Second one is mass. Kilogram. Kilogram. Kg. Okay, mass we are going to measure in kilogram. Symbol we are going to use what? Kg. Third one is time. Unit is seconds. Symbol we are going to use what? SEC. Second. Same way, fourth one is what? Electric current. Electric current. We are going to use the same unit is what? Ampere. Symbol capital A. Same way, temperature. Fifth one is what? Temperature. Temperature. Unit is what? Kelvin. Symbol capital K. Symbol capital K. Sixth one is what? Luminance of intensity. Luminance of intensity. Luminance of intensity. Unit is what? Candela. Symbol CD. Okay. Seventh one is amount of substance. Seventh one is what? Amount of substance. Amount of substance. Unit is what? Mole. Symbol MOL. These are the 7 fundamental or basic physical quantities with units. The rest of these 7 all it will be derived physical quantity. Except these 7, any quantity we can measure means we are going to measure with the help of these 7 only. Yes, no, these 7 only. These are going to be called as what? 7 fundamental physical quantities. Clear? Yes, today's class we discuss about physical quantity and types, unit and types. Okay, and we look into what are the 7 fundamental physical quantities. Only 7: length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, luminance of intensity, amount of substance.